All right, let's get real for a second. If you're a man who's been around the block a few times, maybe you've been married, maybe you've been divorced, maybe you've dated here and there over the years, you've probably had this moment. You're sitting across from a woman having a good conversation, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you're thinking, is she just being friendly? Or is there actually something here? And then you second guess yourself. You talk yourself out of it. You think, nah, she's just being nice. And then nothing happens, and 2 weeks later, you're wondering if you missed your shot. I see you, and I want you to know that moment of uncertainty, it never goes away no matter how old you are. I've been working in men's health and relationship psychology for over 15 years now, and I can tell you with complete confidence that men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s deal with this just as much as men in their 30s do. The question just feels heavier when you're older because the stakes feel higher, and honestly, because some of you have been out of the game for a long time. Maybe you were married for decades. Maybe you lost your partner. Maybe you just got to a point in life where you're ready to connect again, and the whole landscape feels completely different from what you remember. I'm Dr. Lily Harper, and today I want to have a real, honest, no-nonsense conversation about something that I genuinely believe can change the quality of your relationships. Whether you're newly single, actively dating, or you've been with the same woman for 30 years and you want to feel that spark again, we're going to talk about the signals women send when they're genuinely interested in you, not in a manipulative way, not in a tricks to get women kind of way. I have zero patience for that stuff. What I want to give you today is something more valuable. The ability to actually understand what a woman is communicating, so you stop missing the moments that matter. And before we get into it, I want to address something that a lot of men your age have told me over the years, either in my practice or through this channel. They say things like, Dr. Harper, this stuff doesn't apply to me. I'm not young. I'm not some good-looking guy in his 30s. Women don't look at me like that anymore. And I hear that. I really do. That feeling of being invisible. It's one of the most painful things a man can carry. But I want to push back on it because it's simply not true. Attraction at 55, at 65, at 70 looks different than it does at 25. But it's not less real. It's not less powerful. And the signals, they're the same. Women who are interested in you will still show you. You just need to know where to look. That's exactly what we're doing today. Now, I've also got something free for you that goes hand in hand with everything I'm about to share. It's a guide I put together called 20 Questions That Create Real Connection. These are conversation starters specifically designed to help you go deeper with a woman, create genuine intimacy, and naturally open the door to attraction. Whether you're on a first date, reconnecting with someone you've known for years, or trying to reignite things with your partner, these questions work. You can grab it for free. The link is down in the description. Completely free, no strings attached. All right, let's get into it. Here's the foundational thing you need to understand before anything else. Women, especially women over 50, are not going to walk up to you and say, hey, I'm interested in you. Let's make something happen. That's just not how it works. And it's not because women are playing games. It's because vulnerability is scary for everyone. And the older we get, the more we've been hurt and the more carefully we move. So instead of saying it directly, women give what I call permission signals. Little cues, little invitations. They're essentially saying, I'm open, I'm interested. Come toward me. But you have to be paying attention and you have to be willing to act on what you see. That's the part most men miss. Not the signal itself, but the follow through. So let's walk through the 5 biggest signals one by one. The first one is her body opens up around you. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, great body language. I've heard this before. And yeah, you probably have. But stay with me because there's a layer here that most people overlook, especially when it comes to older women. When a woman is genuinely comfortable and attracted to you, her body physically relaxes in your presence. Her shoulders drop away from her ears. She uncrosses her arms. She turns her whole torso toward you, not just her head. She holds eye contact, and I don't mean the polite, flickering eye contact you get from a stranger. I mean the kind where she's actually looking at you, like she's trying to figure you out, like she finds you genuinely interesting. For men your age, this signal is actually easier to read than it is for younger guys, because you've got enough life experience to know the difference between someone who's just being polite and someone who is genuinely present with you. Trust that instinct. If you're having a conversation with a woman and she seems to be leaning into it, leaning toward you, maintaining that soft, steady eye contact, smiling in a way that reaches her eyes, that's not nothing. That's her telling you, without words, you have my full attention and I want yours. What do you do when you notice it? You don't pounce. You don't make it weird. You just meet her energy. Relax your own body. Hold her gaze a beat or two longer than you normally would. Slow down your speech a little. There's a kind of calm confidence that comes with age that women find genuinely magnetic. But a lot of men your age have forgotten they have it. You've earned it. Use it. The second signal is she finds reasons to touch you, and she doesn't pull away. Physical touch is one of the clearest indicators of interest there is, but it's also one of the most misread. A casual, friendly touch on the arm means something very different from a touch that lingers. Here's how to tell the difference. A friendly touch is quick, it's light, and she moves on immediately. An interested touch has a little hesitation in it. Her hand stays a second longer than it needs to. She finds excuses to make contact again. Maybe she touches your arm when she's making a point, or she brushes something off your jacket, or when you're walking together, she naturally gravitates close enough that your arms occasionally touch. For you guys specifically, I want to say something important here, because I've had this conversation with a lot of men in your age group. Some of you have been out of the dating world for a long time, and you've picked up this hyper-cautious mindset around physical contact, like you're terrified of being misread or coming across as inappropriate. And I get it. The world has changed, and it's good that men are more thoughtful about this. But what ends up happening is you become so careful that you send zero signals back, and the woman on the other end thinks you're not interested. So when she touches you and it lingers, it is completely okay, encouraged even, to respond with warmth. A light touch on her hand when you're talking. A brief touch on her shoulder. Natural, easy, reciprocal. You're not being inappropriate, you're being human. The third signal is she creates opportunities to be alone with you. This one is so straightforward that men constantly overlook it because they can't believe it's actually happening. But it is. When a woman is interested, she will engineer situations to spend time with you one-on-one. She stays after the group dinner winds down and everyone else has gone home. She offers to walk with you to the parking lot. She suggests the two of you go check out the new restaurant that opened downtown, just casually, like it's no big deal. She texts you about something that didn't really need a text. None of these things are coincidences. Women don't accidentally end up alone with men they have no interest in. Every single one of those situations involved a choice. Her choice, to put herself in your orbit. That's intentional. And when it happens, you don't have to make a huge production out of it. Something light and easy works perfectly. A smile, a little playful tone, something like, I'm starting to think you're trying to keep me all to yourself. That kind of easy, warm humor. It creates connection. It acknowledges what's happening without making it awkward, and it gives her permission to be a little more open. Women, especially women who've been around for a while and have their own life and their own experiences, respond beautifully to a man who can be lighthearted about attraction. It signals confidence. It signals ease. It tells her she doesn't have to be nervous around you. The fourth signal is she starts letting you in emotionally. And this one, I cannot stress this enough, is the most important signal on this entire list. And it's the one that men most frequently discount or fail to recognize as attraction. We live in a culture that has told men for decades that attraction is purely physical, that it's about looks and chemistry and spark. And while those things matter, the truth is that for women, emotional intimacy is the highway to physical attraction, especially for women who are a little older, who have been through things, who have learned the hard way that surface level connection doesn't sustain anything. So when a woman says to you, I feel really comfortable talking to you, that is not a friend zone statement. That is her telling you that something is working. When she says, you're different from most guys I talk to, that's not a throwaway compliment. When she starts sharing things about her life that are a little more personal, her family, her past, something she's worried about, a dream she has, she is letting down a wall for you. And that is enormous. Women don't do that for men they're indifferent to. They just don't. Now, what you do in that moment matters more than almost anything else. Do not, I repeat, do not immediately pivot to advice-giving mode. Don't try to fix her problem. Don't launch into a story about yourself that one-ups what she just shared. Just listen. Look at her. Say something simple and genuine like, "That makes a lot of sense." Or, "Thank you for telling me that." What you're doing is confirming that she made the right call by opening up to you. You're proving that you can hold what she gave you, and that is wildly attractive. I've sat across from hundreds of women over the course of my career who've told me some version of the same thing. I fell for him because he actually listened to me. He made me feel like what I said mattered. That is within your reach. Right now, in your next conversation. The fifth and final signal is she hands you an opening and waits to see what you do with it. These are the moments that feel almost too obvious once you know what you're looking for, but they fly right past men who aren't tuned in. She says, "It's late, but I'm not tired at all." She says, "I had such a good time tonight. What are you doing next?" She says, "I've never been to that park you were talking about. Maybe somebody should take me someday." These are not abstract statements. These are direct invitations wrapped in plausible deniability. She's giving you an opening. She's making it easy for you. All she's waiting for is for you to step through the door. Now, this is the part where I see a lot of men in your age group hesitate, and I want to talk about why. Some of it is fear of rejection. Totally understandable, we all have that. But a lot of it, for men who are a little older, is something a bit deeper. It's this voice in the back of your head that says, "Who am I to think she's actually interested in me?" It's the accumulated weight of years, maybe decades, of feeling like the confident, attractive, desirable version of yourself is someone you left behind a long time ago. And I want to speak directly to that, because it matters. You are not less worthy of connection because of your age. You are not less attractive because your hair is gray or because you've got a few more miles on you than you used to. In fact, for a lot of women, and I mean this, what you have now is more appealing than anything you had at 30. You've got patience. You've got perspective. You've got the ability to actually be present in a conversation without half your brain somewhere else. You've got stories and depth and a kind of groundedness that younger men simply haven't earned yet. I have worked with women in their 50s and 60s who are completely done with the chaos of younger men and are specifically, consciously drawn to someone exactly like you. So when she gives you that opening, don't let the voice in your head tell you you're misreading it. Take a breath. Move with calm, easy confidence. The next step doesn't have to be a big declaration. It might just be, "Well, I happen to know that park pretty well. How's Saturday morning?" Small, confident, clear. That's all it takes. Now, I want to take a moment to zoom out because everything I've shared today lives inside a bigger picture that I think is worth naming out loud. A lot of the advice that floats around on the internet about reading women and attraction and dating, it's written for young men. It assumes you're in your 20s or 30s. It's full of language and scenarios and contexts that just don't map onto your life. You're not at a college bar. You're probably not swiping through apps hoping to find someone to Netflix and chill with. Your life is more textured than that. Your needs are more specific. What you're looking for, real companionship, genuine intimacy, someone to actually share your life with, that requires a different kind of literacy than what most of this content teaches. What I've shared with you today is not about manipulation. It's not a system or a set of techniques to run on women. It's about learning to be present enough and confident enough to actually see what's already there. Women who are interested in you are already showing you. They already are giving you these signals. The question is whether you're going to let yourself see them and whether you're going to trust yourself enough to act on them. I've had men come into my practice, men in their late 60s, men who hadn't been on a date in 20 years after losing their wives, who told me they had completely written off the idea of ever connecting with someone again, not because they didn't want it, but because they had convinced themselves it was no longer available to them. And I've watched those same men, once they understood what to look for and gave themselves permission to engage, find genuinely beautiful, meaningful relationships. It is never too late. I've seen it too many times to believe otherwise. Your body still carries warmth. Your eyes still hold depth. Your voice still carries weight. The same things that make a woman feel safe and seen and desired don't have an expiration date. You don't have to perform youth to be attractive. You just have to be present, grounded, real. So here's what I want you to take from today. Pay attention to her body. Is it open and relaxed around you? Pay attention to her touch. Does it linger? Pay attention to whether she's finding reasons to stay close, to be alone with you, to keep the conversation going. Pay attention when she opens up emotionally. That's not small talk, that's trust. And when she gives you an opening, give yourself permission to step through it. Calmly, warmly, confidently. Attraction is not a young person's game. It is a human game, and you are very much still in it. I'm Dr. Lily Harper, and if today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to grab that free guide I mentioned. 20 questions that create real connection. These are the exact kinds of conversation deepening questions that make a woman feel truly seen. And honestly, they've changed the dynamic for a lot of the men I've worked with. The link is right there in the description. It won't cost you a thing. And if you have questions, thoughts, something from your own experience that connects with what I talked about today, drop it in the comments. I read them. I respond when I can. And sometimes the most important conversations happen right down there in the comment section between people who are walking the same road. Take care of yourselves. And remember, understanding people is always where everything good begins.